Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Will you say Jai Dhani also, Madhavinda?
You start.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद् ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
जय।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य विभूति फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय।
नामाचार्य श्रीहरदास ठाकुर की जय।
जय।
प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय।
जय।
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय।
जय।
श्री ब्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय।
जय।
श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय।
जय।
श्री द्वारकापुरी धाम की जय। श्री न्यू नीलाचल धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर हरि प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Mahavishnu Swamiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Pale Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Gauri Manutacharine. Nirvishesh धन्यवाद पश्चात जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य परमानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, the Pandavas retired timely, and we are reading from text 22 to 24 today. So we'll recite 22 and 23 together, and I will read 24 later. Rajam stoyanupishtanam suridam na suritpure viprasapa vimudhanam nignatam mustivirmithaha varunim madiram pitva madunmakita chetasam ajanatam iyanyonyam chatuh panchavaseshitaha Rajam stoyanupishtanam suridam na suritpure viprasapa vimudhanam nignatam mustivirmithaha varunim madiram pitva madunmathita chetasam ajanatam ivanyonyam chatuh panchavasesitaha Rajam stoyanupishtanam suridam na suritpure viprasapa vimudhanam nignatam mustivirmithaha varunim madiram pitva madunmathita chetasam ajanatam ivanyonyam chatuh panchavasesitaha. Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to dance?
Hare Krishna. Rajam stvayanu-prishtanam shahridam na suhritpure विप्रशाप विमूढानां निगन्तं मितः वरुणिं मदिरं पीत्वा मदोन्माहितः चेतसाम् अजानातम् इवान्योन्यं पंचावशेषिता। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। राजं स्वयानुपृष्ठानां सुहृदामनः सुहृतपुरे विप्रशाप विमूढानां निघ्नातां मुष्टिभिर्मिथाः वरुणे मदीर्णां वित्वा मदोन्मथित चेतसाम् अजनताम् इवानयोनयां चतुपञ्च वशेषिताः। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। राजांस्ताय अनुप्रस्थातनां सुहृदं न सुहृतपुरे विप्रशापा विमुधानां निगान्तां मुष्टिभिः मितः वरुणीं मदिरां पीतो भवा मदन्महाहिता चेतसाम् अजानाताम् इवान्योन्यं चतुपञ्चभाषाशेषितः। हरे कृष्ण।
राजं त्वयानुपृष्ठानां सुहृदाम्ना सुहृत्पुरे विप्रशापा विमूढानां निघ्नातां मुष्टिभिर्मिता वारुणीं मदिरां पीत्वा मदन्मथिता चेतसाम् अजानताम् इवान्योन्यं चतुपञ्चावशेषिता।
हरे कृष्ण। राजं स्वानुपृष्ठानं सुहृदं नः सुहृत्पुरे विप्रशापा विमूढानं नहितातं मुष्टिभिर्मितः वरुणिं मदिरं पीत्वा मतित्या चेतसम् अजानातम् इवन्योनं चतुः पञ्च वशेषितः।
Anyone else? Okay. We don't do word for word. Okay. Rajan, O king, Toya, by you, Anupristanam, as you inquired, Surhidam, of friends and relatives, Naha, our, Suritpure, in the city of Dwaraka, Vipra, the Brahmanas, Sapa, by the course of, Vimudhanam, of the befooled, Nignatam, of the killed, Mustivihi, with bunches of sticks, Mithaha, among themselves, Varunim, fermented rice, Madiram, wine, Hitva, having drunk, Mada Unmatita, being intoxicated, Chetasam, of that mental situation, Azanatam, of the unrecognized, Eva like, Anyonyam, one another, Chatuhu, four, Pancha, five, Avasesitaha, now remaining. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Sorry. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O king, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as a result, they all became intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone. Text 24. Prayanaitat bhagavata Isvarasya vichestitam Mitho nignanti bhutani bhavayanti cha yanmithaha. Synonyms. Prayana etad. It is almost by. Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead. Iswarasya, of the Lord. Vichestitam, by the will of. Mithaha, one another. Nihnanti, do kill. Bhutani, the living beings. Bhavayanti, as also protect. Cha, also. Yat, of whom. Mithaha, one another. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. Purport. According to the anthropologists, there is nature's law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. But they do not know that behind the law of nature is the supreme direction of the supreme personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed under the direction of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the goodwill of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and nations. The surest way to the path of peace, therefore, is dovetailing everything to the established rule of the Lord. The established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of the Lord. No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord. Discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. Such action is called yoga karmasu kausalam, or actions performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing a thing perfectly. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sabrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathan Vitamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhan Vidamsa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamanda Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Vrishabhanu Sudha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vyasha Kripa Sindhupe Vacha Patitanam Pavane Vyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna. First of all, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And it is really very purifying during the process of preparation. And before I speak on the verse, I would like to take blessings from all of you assembled devotees here. I see Mother Sangita is also there. So I'd like to take blessings and permission to speak for a while.
Hare Krishna. I'm so happy to see you give class. Hear you give class. Thank you.
I will read the translation one second. So in 22 to 23 verse. O King, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as a result, they all became intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice and fought among themselves with sticks. not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone. 624. Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. Krishna. So we saw yesterday's verse. Arjun was expressing his grief of separation from Lord Krishna, and he was remembering all those past times, especially with Pandavas and how they were protected, and all those things. We saw till yesterday's verse, but today's verse is the first answer Arjun is giving to Yudhishthir's first question. I mean, first means he asked about all the Yadavas from almost 25 to 33 verse in the last chapter. And in this verse, he is giving the answer to Yudhishthir Maharaj's question. And like in the verse, it says, Anuprishthanam, and as you inquire about whom? About the Suridam, friends and relatives from Suridpure, city of Dwarka. And the answer is also in the verse saying, Viprasapa Bimudana. All of them were cursed by Brahmanas, and as a result, they all became intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice, Barunim Madiram, and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing each other. And other verse in 24, Arjun is again saying, like he was saying till yesterday, that everything happens by the will of Lord. So he again stresses that point that Iswarasya Vichestitam, everything happens only by his will. So here the whole story is not given in this part, but in 11th canto, first chapter, there's a whole chapter about the curse, how the Yadavas were cursed, and the whole chapter, and the curse upon the Yadu dynasty. So I'll tell the story in short. What happened is, like, once upon a time, after the battle of Kurukshetra, and the place, in a holy place called Pindaraka, which is near the city of Dwaraka, the Yadukumaras, the young boys, they while playing playfully, they tried to prank on the sages who were assembled there. Like the name is also given in the chapter, like Vishwamitra, Asita, Kanva, Durvasa, Bhrigu, Angira, Kasyapa, Vamdeva, Atri, Vasistha, and also with Narad. So the boys, they dressed Samba, the son of whom? Son of whom? Jambavati, the son of Jambavati. They dress her as a pregnant lady, and they go to ask the sages. That is also not like childish style. They they try to act like they were very humble. It is also in the verse, it says they hold the sages' feet, like paprachu, that means asked, avinitaha, not humble, avinitaha, not humble, but and the next word is vinitavat, acting as if humble. They were not humble, but they were acting as if they were very humble. And so they impudently asked them, the sages, with feigned humility. That is in the verse 15. So they say, "O learned Brahmanas, this black-eyed pregnant woman has something to ask you. She is too embarrassed to inquire for herself. She is just about to give birth and is very desirous of having a son. Since all of you are great sages with infallible vision, please tell us whether her child will be a boy or a girl." So when they say like this, and then the sages, they know everything. So in the verse 16, they got really mad. So thus ridiculed by deceit, the sages became angry. O king means here in conversation between the Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, told the boys, "Fools, she will bring you an iron club that will destroy your entire dynasty." So that's the sages cursing the Yadu Kumaras. So when they hear this, and in the book, we can see the nice picture there. Samba dressed as like a nice, beautiful lady, pregnant lady. And then in other picture, there is a black iron clock coming out. I mean, the Yadukumaras were holding the iron clock. So when they heard the curse, they really get terrified. And then when they uncovered Samba's belly, there was an iron clock, because somewhere it is said they put some stone in Samba's belly, but somewhere they said it was just covered, like just make some cloths or something. But when they uncovered the belly, there was iron cloth. And then they were really very horrified, very fearful, and they ran. They go to the assembly of Ugrasena, who was the king of that time. So they go to Ugrasena, and they tell everything, whatever happened. And then Ugrasena was like, he advises them like, don't worry, just destroy this iron club, and then just pound it up, ground it to the powder, and just throw it. Nothing will happen. Like he says that. And then they ground it, make it powder, and they throw in the water. And there's a little piece of the iron remaining, and they threw into the ocean. So, but no one can undo the thing. Like Arjuna said, everything happens by Krishna's will, not a blade of grass moves without his will. So that small part was eaten, swallowed by a fish, and later on that Jara, it doesn't come in this class, but Jara gets that fish, and then that iron lump, he turns it into arrow. That is in the disappearance of Lord Krishna. And but that iron bits, they were again carried to the shore by waves, and they implanted themselves and grew into sharp canes, which we'll see later on. They will be used as a weapon to kill the Yadus fighting with each other. They use that looks like grass, but when they take that grass in their hand, that turns into the iron weapon. So from this pastime of Mausal Leela, actually, Lord Krishna is trying to teach us how heinous, how dangerous it is to offend a devotee of the Lord. And he says, Viprasapa Vimudhanam. So Srila Prabhupada says in his class that he becomes a fool even though he may have a high class birth. The Yadukumaras were born in Lord himself's family, surrounded by Lord, and they lived a life of full opulence. I mean, not ordinary. They were also demigods, like we know, like even like Pradyumna was Kamadev himself, and they were very powerful also. Like once they brought that Sudharma hall from heaven to the earth in Dwarka to make it a parliament. And nobody could stop them. I mean, nobody just, fought with them, or nobody could stop them. And and not only that, I mean, we can see like some of them were even accompanying Krishna in the fight of Mahabharata. Like they were very Rathis, Maharathis, Atirathis, in the sense of power. Like they had high birth, they were opulent, like nothing was there like lacking for them. But just a small mistake, then the whole dynasty was finished. And Srila Prabhupada in the class he gave in Los Angeles in this verse, he says that if any person is cursed by a Vipra or Brahmana or Vaishnava, then they are finished. And that's why while we recite these 10 offenses, we know the 10 offenses. Among that 10 offenses, Vaishnava Parada is the most dangerous one, and it is Srila Prabhupada said Hatimata, mare elephant offense. So we should be very careful not to offend Vaishnava devotees. And Srila Prabhupada, in his own word, he says, those who are rascal, fools, they will want to try to insult Vaishnavas or real Brahmana, and then they are finished. And then he further says that a Vaishnava never curses, but tolerates. I mean, it's not like being a Vaishnava, you have got the right to curse anyone. He says, Vaishnava never curse, curses. He tolerates. Trinadapi sunichena, tarurapi saisnana. And he further says, Vaishnava tolerates, but Vishnu never tolerates. Like we see whole Bhagavad Gita, like Arjuna was ready to forgive all the offenses that Kauravas committed against them and wasn't going to fight. He was very, what we say, very merciful. I mean, he was being very kind, and he was like, I'm not going to fight Krishna. He gives like so many reasons in the first chapter. And then, but Krishna says no. And we can see like many other pastimes also, like Draupadi Vastraharan. And then all those leelas with Pandavas, like they were ready to forgive whatever happened. That's okay. We don't need anything. But Krishna was like, no. And like Prahlad Maharaj, we can remember even Prahlad Maharaj, like his own father was trying to kill him. And then, but he never reprimanded. I mean, he was like, he never asked Krishna, like, why is this happening to me? Like, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be your devotee. I'm trying to be more purer. And then you're giving me this, like everybody is giving me trouble, all those things. And then, but Lord Krishna, he came as Nrsimhadev and then protected Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj, even after all this, when Nrsimhadev asked, like, what do you want? Like, do you want any blessings? And then he says, like, I'm not a businessman, he says first. And then he says, if you really want to give me, then just deliver my father, right? Who was already like every minute ready to kill him. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, like the devotees they tolerate, but Vishnu never tolerates. And then we can name all those pastimes. There are so many. You can go on and on with the pastimes. And then if anyone remembers any pastime, 2 minutes, if anyone wants to share where devotees tolerated and Lord didn't tolerate.
We know Jagai Madhai, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, I think that is another one. And then I will share one screen where is it? And this question comes in our mind, like why this happened. Like, we can think of like nice ending, like the Yadus were Krishna's family. Why did he had to make them fight? Like they could go nicely, like winding up, or if they had to go back, they can go nicely in a Puspak Viman, just seated and just buy and go. But why this all fight happened, everything, why this happened? And to this, like there are many commentaries. So in 11th canto, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they quoted Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the different verses. So I will share one Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's commentary on that. 11.1.1. Yeah, we're not going to read all of this, but we'll just read the part, this one, the highlighted ones. I'll just highlight this part. Oops, sorry. Okay, if anyone wants to read this.
You want somebody to read that?
Yeah.
Can I read it then?
Yeah, sure.
Lord Shri Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita that when there is a predominance of such chaotic, irreligious societies on the earth, he personally descends to rectify the imbalance. Thus, from the very beginning of his transcendental infancy, Krishna systematically killed the powerful asuras or demons who were an intolerable burden for the earth. Lord Shri Krishna was assisted by his brother Balaram, who is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although God is one, he can expand himself to enjoy in many forms at once. That is his omnipotence. And the first such expansion is Balaram or Baladev. Balaram killed many noteworthy demons, including Dhenukasur, Dvivida, and the envious Rukmi. Krishna was also accompanied by the members of the Yadu dynasty, many of whom were demigods who had descended to assist the Lord. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, however, has revealed that although many demigods had taken birth in the Yadu dynasty to assist the Lord, some members of the Yadu dynasty were actually inimical toward Krishna. Because of their mundane vision of the Lord, they considered themselves to be on the same level as Krishna. Having taken birth in the family of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, they had inconceivable strength, and thus they misunderstood Krishna's supreme position. Having forgotten that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would constitute a great burden, and consequently it was necessary for Krishna to remove them from the earth. There is a popular saying that familiarity breeds contempt. To destroy the contemptuous members of his own dynasty, the Lord caused a quarrel among them. For this purpose, he arranged for Narada and other sages to display anger against the Karshnas, the members of his family. Although many Yadus who were devoted to Krishna were apparently killed in this fratricidal war, Lord Krishna actually returned them to their original positions as universal directors or demigods. It is the Lord's promise in Bhagavad Gita that he will always protect those who are favorable to his service.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. And then another reason is given by Srila Jiva Goswami. This was in verse 1. So in the purport in verse 3, Srila Goswami is quoted, and where he emphasizes that the members of Yadu dynasty are eternal associates of the Lord. And since Lord Krishna was preparing to give up his earthly pastimes, that he said, like now, like we just read from Siddhanta Maharaj, that the asuras or demons, they were like burdened to the earth. So Lord Krishna, assisted by his brother, they finished all those asuras, the burden of the earth. But here and then since he was preparing to give up his earthly pastimes, and he thought that if he were to leave the Yadu dynasty on earth, they would surely become so disturbed by his absence that in their highly agitated state of mind, they would trample the earth and destroy the earth. Therefore, Krishna arranged the disappearance of Yadu dynasty before his own. Like we can see like how powerful they were. You could bring like Sudhar Mahal back to the, down to the earth. So, and then we read before also, like there are like many rasas of relationship, rasas of the relationship with Krishna, devotees' relationship with Krishna. And among them, like some are like light, mellow, and then some are like Raudra, like what else, Sivalre, all those, like Vismadev was piercing him with arrows. That was also a mellow of transcendental relation. So that's what here Sri Jiva Goswami is trying to tell us, that not only that Krishna was trying to take the burden away from earth, and I don't remember the exact words now, but somewhere it is in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said like the Yadavas were like the burden of love for earth, Mother Earth. They were like burden of love. So not only the burden, the Yadavas, they loved Krishna so much that they would not be able to tolerate that separation from him. And then in that love, in that ecstasy, they will trample the earth. Like that Srila Jiva Goswami is trying to present in this mention. And then Srila Prabhupada, again in his class, he explains furthermore, saying like the Yadavas were not ordinary, like, and then nobody can kill them. And so to to show that one that nobody can touch them or nobody can kill them. Srila Prabhupada remembers the pastime of Mother Sita who was kidnapped by Ravana, and then he quotes it from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where he says that the Brahmana, one Brahmana in South India, when he was in the South India tour, so one Brahmana invites Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for lunch. Anyway, for lunch or breakfast. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there, that Brahman hasn't cooked anything, he hasn't prepared. And then when he says, like, why you invited me, but why didn't you prepare? Srila Prabhupada. And then he says, I couldn't cook. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, Brahmana, you invited me, but I don't see even you have cooked. What is the reason? And the Brahmana says, oh yes, I am going to cook immediately. The thing is, I am very sorry that Ravana, the demon, has taken away Sita. I couldn't rescue her still. So why shall I eat? I shall die. And then he was in the ecstasy of Hanuman, or devotee. He was thinking like Hanuman. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much liked that he is in devotion and in ecstasy of Hanuman, and he's thinking like that. So that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he says, so don't be sorry, Sita, Lakshmiji, she cannot be touched by Ravana. It was Maya Sita, I will tell you, I'll give you evidence from Shastra. And so Brahmana believed him, and then he prepares food, offers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again, he comes back from the tour, he gets that Purana, and Srila Prabhupada says it was in Shiva Purana or something like that, that evidence, he brings it to that Brahman. So that means, the point I was trying to make is like, Srila Prabhupada is focusing on saying that they were the eternal associates of Lord. So nobody could, kill them, kill them. It was Lord's desire to do that. And then we also read in Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's commentary that was Lord Krishna's plan to take them with him. And then there is another word here in the verse, and about that intoxication, Madha Unmathita. What he says is like Parunim Madiram Pitva Madoni Mathita Chetasam Ajanatam Ivan Yunyam Chatupancha Pasesitaha. So here there is Srila Prabhupada even says how that wine is made by boiling and fermenting rice, and then that becomes, he says, what is that? This some kind of brandy or whiskey. And I just about that intoxication, he gives like 2 minutes short audio. I have that short audio about intoxication. Srila Prabhupada is speaking. It was very nice. I thought it's nice to hear from Srila Prabhupada instead of me saying what Srila Prabhupada said. I'll try to find that. Okay, I will listen to Srila Prabhupada now. Sound. You can see this now, right?
Vitprasavad Vimunana Nignatag Mushtibhi Mitha, being intoxicated. The other point is intoxication. We are already intoxicated. Being under the influence of Maya, the material energy, we are already forgotten about self. Whereas nobody knows that he is not this body. This is another intoxication. He is not this body, this is a fact, But go to the outside of this temple, ask anybody what you are. Yes, I am this body. They are already intoxicated. So, again, if you drink, then how much intoxicated you become? You just try to understand. Varuni modirang pitya madana modhita chetasa. Everyone who is in this material world, forgotten God or Krishna, is already intoxicated. Just like intoxicated man, he cannot recognize even his father and mother, or even his sister or mother. It has been practical. One father intoxicated, there are so many instances. Raped the daughter. Daughter is crying, my dear father, who cares for that? Intoxicated. You see, this is going on. So intoxication is so sinful. Intoxication is so sinful that just as the hog is intoxicated by this material world, eating stool is a food, but he is tasting very nice and is deriving benefit, sexually very strong, never cares whether mother, sister or daughter. Every example is there in front. So by intoxication, we have to get out of this intoxicated condition of life, which is called Maya.
Hare Krishna. Malvinda, will you want to? No.
Yeah, it is intoxication. They don't know what they are doing. So same way, like Srila Prabhupada was saying that we're all intoxicated because we don't know that we are body. We cannot say this Maya, and that's really what he said. It was amazing, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So every word, Srila Prabhupada's every word, like if we try to expand it, like it's like it will be a whole class itself, like one word. So, and then that is in 20 to 23 verse. He says about intoxication. They were intoxicated and then they don't know each other. They start fighting and all those. And then in 24, verse 24, sorry. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is writing, factually, that is translation. Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. So there are like many examples right in front of us now. Also, we don't have to quote from Shastras, like the war between Russia and Ukraine or whatever. So they were same, like they were together before. As far as I know, I don't know much about politics or anything, but they were USSR or something, and now they got split. They were protecting each other before, now they're fighting with each other. So you don't have to remember Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is right in front of us now. So all those kind of thing. And then in purport, Srila Prabhupada is writing, whenever therefore there is peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the goodwill of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and nations. And then Srila Prabhupada, like many times he quotes, he says like the best peace formula for the world is, what is that verse? The best peace formula? Santi Mrechati, right? If one knows that Krishna is the supreme Lord and he everything belongs to him, then that will be the world peace formula. And the surest way to the path of peace, therefore, is dovetailing everything to the established rule of the Lord, the established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of the Lord. We that famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, Yad Karosi, Yad Asnasi, Yad Juhosi, Tadasi Yat, Tat Yat Tapasyasi Kanteya, Tat Kurusa Madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Right? That's his formula. And then he said, discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. Such action is called yoga karmasu kausalam, or actions performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing a thing perfectly. Hare Krishna. And in that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada in the purport writes for that Yat Karusya Dasnasi verse, he writes like, it is the duty of every one of us to mold our life in such a way that we will not forget Krishna in any circumstances. And he said everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together. And Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. So saying that, I would like to conclude for today, and we'll open for any corrections or any additional points anyone has. Mata Sangita, Kayule Prabhu, there any more points on this? Actually, this verse cannot be finished in one class, and I just could do till intoxication, but the verse 24 is still, we just read the purport. Hare Krishna. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Lot of things in these two verses, a lot of things are there. It's like Prabhupada's, Srila Prabhupada's that bit you said. It was really, that is what happens, and person is intoxicated, they don't know what they are doing. And we're also intoxicated, and we don't know what this body, or we're not this body. No, we don't think that this is I, and I had to dress up nicely, I had to look nicely, I had to eat nicely, tasty things I want to eat. That I is the one. So really, these two ones, not only these two, whole Bhagavatam tells a lot for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mother Shyamagori. You tied it up very nicely. Like you were saying, every verse, every word of Srila Prabhupada's purport is packed. There's just not one word that is extra. That doesn't belong there. I always am thinking about Vaishnava Aparadh, and I think it is a good reminder to always, to keep that in mind, to be very, very careful how not to offend. And also the point that as Vaishnavas, we should be tolerant. Lord Krishna will not tolerate, and we rely on that. But we should tolerate and keep in mind not to offend anybody, especially a devotee. And you tied it up all very nicely.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that one point where I was listening to Radhesam Prabhu's class also on the same verse, and he was saying like it's true, but we keep forgetting that our spiritual path is like, it's always under construction. Like we're always working on it. We should not forget that. Like now I got initiated, I'm done. No, it's always under construction. I mean, like the Yadavas, they were the family of Lord Krishna, but just a small mistake. They were just boys. So they were just playing prank, and then like they got this curse, like whole dynasty is getting doomed. So yeah, and then like Dhruva Maharaj, like he got that. He saw Lord face to face, and Lord touched him with his conch and all those things. But like when one of the, what was that? Gandharva, no, someone killed his brother, and then he was ready to destroy all clan, and then Swayambhuva Manu had to uh, stop him. I mean, look, so it's not never done. Like it's always under construction. So it's always a continuous process. Yeah.
Yes,
As in-
it is a continuous process. Anybody else have any other realizations or comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. I mean, a very beautiful realization everyone is bringing up. I personally acknowledge one of them, accepting the will of the God. You said like something is happening and it's not happening. But sometimes I struggle in my own world, an inner world, and we try to see a different philosophy floating in the world. And when we wanted to endeavor for doing the devotion for Krishna, presenting Krishna consciousness, sometimes we don't come across because the idea is to establish peace and to see that will of the God is also present. But what is the human endeavor when we try to, because we'll follow one or either way, some kind of belief system or some philosophy to stick with it, and sometimes we see in the given situation it may not be favorable, but how can we accept that as also I see as a tolerant as a point, but then we are also endeavoring. There's a struggle between endeavoring and and accepting the will would be like, okay, not probably let it go that way, because that is how matra spashetu kaunteya. It's like a summer and winter. You can say that to your own word, but then you become soft, and then you may not endeavor to do things, and that is where I struggle. When this I personally acknowledge this philosophy. Like, I personally like it, to be honest. When I cannot have an answer, I go with that, but I cannot have a dual mind when I am doing the endeavor kind of thing. That's where my struggle is. How would you respond to that?
There are more senior devotees here, so I'm sure they have very perfect answers. But if I had to see the situation, like you said, like that's a blanket statement the devotees use, like that's Krishna's will, everything happens for his will. So, but we also have to see like the whatever situation we are in is which endeavor we are taking to. Are we taking the endeavor to go near to Krishna, or are we taking that endeavor to go away from Krishna? So that's what in the purport Srila Prabhupada wrote, like everything should be double-told. I'll read the exact line Srila Prabhupada just said in the purport. He said, an action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We cannot say like this might be Krishna's plan and go steal or break the bank or anything. You need money. No, he said, there is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. And another thing is like in the most situation, like we are really confused, then that's when the prayer comes in hand, our weapon. We pray to Lord, we seated in our heart as Janardana. We pray to Lord to show us way. And there is another way also, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That's why Srila Prabhupada has founded this ISKCON, where we get to grow, not by yourself. Like we have our seniors. Because we say like we can pray, but like it's not like Satya Yuga, Krishna will come to you and will tell you to go do this, do that. No, he will use his devotees. He's used his pure devotees, his dear devotees to guide us. That's why we have to have our spiritual master, and then to get guidance, and then consulting with seniors. That's what I would think I would do. And then there's Mother Sangeeta, Kavile Prabhu for more answers.
Yeah, when we have seniors like them, yeah, it is. I also very humbly am just going to add to what Mother Shyamagori said. Definitely, like she said, Guru Sadhu Shastra. So we have our sadhus here, even in our sangha, even in our midst. It's our job to recognize them and go to them for advice. But as far as your question goes, I think the question for him always is, how do I reach these people who are not able to accept this philosophy yet? So again, you rely on what Krishna says, karmanye vadhikarasya. You do you never stop trying, you keep trying and let it be. Whether or not I accept is dependent on where I am on that path. So you should never say, oh, this Mataji is not going to get it. So you keep trying, and whenever it is my time, when Krishna says it is his will that I get back on track, get back on the path, he will do it, and you will be the instrument to get it done. But that is not in our hands at all. We cannot, the only thing that is in our hands is our effort, and we never give up. And again, like Mother Shyamagori said, is your effort in taking these people towards Krishna, then it is absolutely an endeavor you don't give up on. If it is not taking you and me towards Krishna, then that's an endeavor that will have to be rethought and figured out how to get back on track. These are questions that should, like Mother Shyamagori said, it is a process, it is under construction, it will continue to go on. And when you see our senior devotees here, after how many years they're still on that process. They never say, I have gotten there 50 years, Prabhupada disciple, done, got it. They never ever say that. And that is what we learn from them, is that if they are still trying, then we still have to keep trying. There we go, Mother Sangeeta. Thank you for rescuing me.
Thank you very much. I mean, so beautifully presented. I mean, yeah, I think so. We have to. I have to remind myself every time this. What you said. I think I can write down this point. It's very beautiful realizations and beautiful points.
That's why we need a association Bhagavatam class every day to remind ourselves. Mother Sangeeta.
I just wanted to reiterate what Shobha Radhe said. She said it so beautifully. And also that it's the process. If we just keep trying and going up that path with the process, chanting, hearing, and definitely no matter who you are aspiring to take initiation from, if you already have somebody picked out, or if you're just kind of taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada and asking Srila Prabhupada to reveal who that Diksha Guru will be. I mean, that's okay to do that too. Shobha, my hearing is so bad. Did you mention that point in what you said?
You're
Shobha?
muted.
I am?
No, I was
Oh.
muted. No, I did not say it the way you had said. Yes, you seek advice and you seek direction, and so you go to whoever you are seeking initiation from, or Siksha Guru, or
Yes, but it's important to before that stage, if you don't have any idea who you'd like to seek that permission from or guidance from, that you pray to Srila Prabhupada, because he's Siksha Guru for the world. And ask, and he will always be your Siksha Guru, even when you take initiation from one of his disciples, most likely. So, you know, there's the process as you go to the acharyas and in our line of disciplic succession. So I would suggest you humbly approach Srila Prabhupada and ask him to guide you to your eternal guru, who will be your, you know, your Diksha Guru, that you will take initiation from, and who you will have an eternal relationship with. But you will always have an eternal relationship with our disciplic succession. And so Srila Prabhupada will always be your, he's your spiritual grandfather. Your spiritual grandfather. Prabhupada said sometimes the grandfather is more merciful than the father. So it's okay to approach him, humbly approach him in the deity form in the temple room. He said he'll forever be present within his books. So when you open up his book, you pray to him that you can truly understand his words, because he's present in his words. You know, watch his DVDs, get to know him through his actions. I mean, his hands, when he moves his hands, they're like mudras. He's so swan-like. There's a reason why we said that he's so swan-like. There are so many stories about how, you know, the devotees couldn't even see his footprints in the wet grass in front of them. They could see everyone else's, but not his. And Jamuna Devi asked him why in England, and he said, "Oh, I'll tell you later," but he never did. So, you know, watch these DVDs, get to know Prabhupada. He'll guide you from within. He'll guide you to your spiritual master. That's what I wanted to add. But I loved what you said, Shobha. But I just wanted to add that little bit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mataji. I think so. I cannot disagree. Yeah, what you said, it's wonderfully presented by all Matajis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right then. Thank you very much, Mother Shyamagori.
Thank you.
So we will end the class here then.
Thank you very much. Nice when you gave the class. Thank you.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful Krishna conscious day. We will meet again tomorrow morning at 7:50.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to sing.
Thank you.
I'm blessed.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.